Listen carefully. If your chest tightens when someone casually asks, "So what's new with you?" that's not weakness. That's instinct. That's your inner system trying to protect something still forming. Most people believe they're being open when they share every detail of their life. They're not open. They're porous. They leak. They drain themselves in polite conversations. They pour focus into mouths that will never carry their weight. In 2026, your greatest upgrade isn't louder confidence. It's quiet precision. Because the moment you tell someone what you're working on, something subtle happens. Your mind checks the box early. The work feels partially complete. Hunger fades. Discipline loosens. You traded momentum for applause. You took a sip of attention and confused it with nourishment. Then you wonder why nothing reaches the finish line. You wonder why motivation disappears right after the announcement. This isn't about becoming cold. It's about becoming exact. There is a difference between sharing and spilling. Sharing is intentional. Spilling is emotional. Sharing serves a purpose. Spilling feeds a craving. Sharing is offering a cup to someone who can hold it. Spilling is knocking the cup over because your hands shake when you're seen. Look around. People narrate their lives like live commentary. Every thought, every plan, every new habit, every heartbreak, every new chapter. And the more they talk, the less they build. The more they explain, the less they become. They are addicted to being witnessed. But the strongest growth happens without applause. A seed does not announce itself. It doesn't gather an audience. It goes underground. It stays dark. It stays quiet. It stays patient. And it grows anyway. So here is your rule for 2026. If your life is changing, protect it while it's still fragile. Not everyone who listens is listening for you. Some listen to compare. Some listen to collect stories. Some listen to find weak points. Some listen because your movement unsettles them and they need to shrink it into gossip. Some smile while silently rearranging your words into reasons you will fail. Even people with good intentions carry human nature. They misunderstand. They misquote. They remember what entertains them, not what matters to you. They turn your private struggles into casual conversation, not because they are cruel, but because they are careless. Your life is not meant for careless hands. You don't need to announce your discipline. You need to live it long enough that it no longer needs protection. First lesson: the mouth is a doorway. What you let out, you lose control of. The moment your plans leave your lips, they become public property. And the public does what it always does. It edits, it judges, it doubts, it compares. Even when no one says anything, your nervous system feels watched. And watched systems perform. Builders don't perform. Builders build. Second lesson: speaking too early borrows identity from the future. You start calling yourself something you haven't earned yet. I'm starting the gym. I'm building a business. I'm writing a book. These aren't lies, but they are dangerous comforts. The mind loves titles. It loves the feeling of already being that person. And when you give it that feeling too soon, it relaxes. It stops doing the boring repetitions that actually make you that person. In 2026, stop feeding yourself with words. Feed yourself with proof. Third lesson. Attention is currency, and most of you spend it carelessly. Every time you tell your story to someone who cannot help you carry it, you pay for nothing. You leave lighter for a moment because validation feels good. Then you wake up with the same responsibilities and less drive. You turned a private fire into a public flame. And public flames attract wind. Fourth lesson. Respect doesn't require your full story. It requires your boundaries. If you feel guilty for not explaining yourself, the guilt isn't morality. It's conditioning. It's the habit of asking permission to exist. You don't owe everyone explanations. You don't owe everyone updates. You don't owe everyone access. Say it until it feels normal. I keep some things private. Say it calmly. Say it kindly. Say it without tension. And don't decorate it with extra words. A clean boundary is one sentence. A weak boundary is a speech. Fifth lesson. Protect your momentum from the crowd's gaze. Notice how differently you move when no one knows what you're doing. You take risks. You fail without shame. You restart without embarrassment. But once everything is announced, every setback becomes public humiliation in your mind. You play safe. You aim to look consistent instead of becoming strong. In 2026, choose strength over looking consistent. Sixth lesson. Gossip is a system, not just a habit. And oversharing feeds it. People will talk no matter what you do. But when you overshare, you give them material. You hand them unfinished emotions, raw thoughts, half-formed versions of yourself. Then when you grow, you have to fight old versions of you living in other people's mouths. Stop creating enemies made of yesterday's words. Seventh lesson. Some people stay close only while you're predictable. Growth threatens comfort. They may not know it, but they'll ask heavy questions disguised as curiosity. Why are you doing that? Who told you to do that? Do you really think you can? Those aren't questions. They're hooks. Designed to pull you back into a smaller version of yourself. In 2026, don't argue. Don't explain. Don't defend. Keep walking. Eighth lesson. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is training. When you stop telling everyone everything, discomfort will surface. Your tongue will itch. Your mind will look for a stage. That's withdrawal. You've been using conversation as regulation. Other people's reactions as emotional stability. Now you learn to regulate yourself. When the urge to overshare hits, pause, breathe, ask, what am I trying to get right now? Comfort, approval, permission. Naming the craving weakens it. Then choose action. Write, walk, sit still. Do one small piece of the work you were about to talk about. Turn craving into motion. That is Powered. Ninth lesson. Not everyone deserves the real you. The real you is not content. It's a home, and homes have doors, locks, invited guests. They don't allow strangers to wander through touching everything. If everyone has access to your inner life, you'll start decorating it for their taste, rearranging truth to avoid misunderstanding. One day you'll wake up living in a house built for others. In 2026, your inner life becomes a temple. Temples are quiet, clean, protected. 10th lesson. Progress does not need witnesses. It needs consistency. The world tells you that if you're not posting, you're not progressing. That if you're not talking, you're not doing. That's noise. Some of the deepest transformations happen precisely because nobody knows. If you want to stop oversharing, you need a replacement rule. Choose one and live it. I speak about results, not intentions. Or I speak about lessons, not plans. Or I speak to mentors, not crowds. And understand this. Privacy is not secrecy. Secrecy is fear. Privacy is respect. You're not hiding because you're ashamed. You're protecting because you're building. Now understand the balance. This isn't about isolation. It's about intention. There are circles in your life. The crowd gets politeness and surface updates. Nothing that can be used against your peace. The trusted circle earns deeper truth through consistency and discretion. And the mentor circle, one or two people, gets your plans because they don't consume them. They hold you accountable. Most people ask the crowd to hold their future, then drown in noise. In 2026, stop giving your future to the crowd. If you share, share upward. Share with people who have discipline, not just opinions, and learn the art of short answers. Someone asks, "What's going on with you lately?" You don't need a novel, you can say, "Just working on a few things." Someone asks, "What's next for you?" You can say, "I'm focused in my routine right now." Someone asks, "How's your relationship?" You can say, "We're good. Thank you." Someone asks, "Why did you stop coming round?" You can say, "I've been prioritizing my schedule." That's it. No extra sauce. No apology. Your apology invites negotiation. Your simplicity ends the conversation. Some of you are thinking, "But if I don't share, people will think I'm arrogant." Let them. People will always think something. If you share too much, they call you needy. If you share too little, they call you secretive. If you seek it, they call you lucky. If you struggle, they call you weak. Do you see their opinions are weather? You don't build your home out of weather. You build it out of values. And here is a value. For 2026, let your life speak without your mouth. Let people discover your growth the way you discover a mountain when the fog clears suddenly, quietly, undeniably. There is another reason to stop telling people what's happening in your life. Because most of your life isn't finished. And unfinished things need gentle hands. When you talk about your wounds, while they're still bleeding, you reopen them. You make them public. You invite strangers into the most tender part of you. Then you wonder why you feel exposed and anxious after opening up. Not everyone is qualified to hear our pain. Pain is not small talk. Pain is sacred. If you share it with someone who can help you heal, not someone who can only react. In 2026, become strict with what you feed your nervous system. Every time you overshare, you create a new social thread. Your mind has to manage. What did he tell them? What will they think? Will they bring it up? Do I have to update them? Your mind becomes a customer.service desk for your own life. That is exhausting. That is why you feel tired of them when you haven't done much physical work. Privacy reduces mental clutter, and with less clutter, you focus. I want you to notice something. The people who talk the most about their life often feel the most stuck. They recycle the same stories. They repeat the same complaints. their house, the same identity. This always happens to me. People always do this. I'm just not that kind of person. They're building a prison out of narration. In 2026, stop narrating. Start observing. Instead of telling people what's happening, ask yourself what is actually happening inside me. Where do I tense? Where do I avoid? Where do I lie, Thomas L.? Where do I chase comfort? Where do I betray my own standards? This, I swear, the real change begins, not in updates. In honesty, some of you also overshare because you fear being forgotten. You think if I don't keep people updated, I'll disappear. Listen, if a relationship requires constant updates to stay alive, it is not a relationship. It is a subscription, and you are paying with your peace. In 2026, let weak connections fade. That creates room for strong ones. And you will lose some people when you become quieter. Not because you did something wrong, but because your silence removes their access. Some people were close to you, only because you were easy to read, easy to influence, easy to pull into drama. When you stop giving them information, they feel powerless. They call you different. They say, you're changed. Good, that means it's working, but be careful. Don't become bitter. Don't use silence as punishment. Don't use privacy as a weapon. Use it as a PR act. Use it as respect. Quietness without warmth becomes arrogance. Quietness with warmth becomes presence. So practice this. When you speak less, listen more. When you post less, build more. When you explain less, improve more. When you seek less validation, create more evidence. Now, let's talk about the most dangerous form of oversharing, announcing your next move. Some of you love the moment right before you begin, the shiny moment, the new notebook, the first day, the new identity, and you want people to see you're stepping into it. You want someone to say, wow, I'm proud of you. But that pride is cheap. If it is given before Thua, earn your pride in private. If you went to change your body, don't tell 10 people you're starting the gym. Go quickly for 90 days. Let your face change. Let your posture change. Let your energy change. Then if someone asks, you can smile and say, I've been consistent. If you want to change your finances, don't announce your hustle. Build the habit. Track the numbers. Cut the waste. Grow the skill. Then let their results speak. If you want to change your relationships, don't complain to everyone. Fix your standards. Improve your communication. Learn to say no. Learn to choose better. Then your life comes calmer without needing to argue about it. Silence gives you speed breakers. When you stop talking, you stop and when you stop performing, you can be honest about how hard it is. You can fail without shame. You can adjust without embarrassment. You can restart without announcing new beginnings every week. There is a particular kind of person you must be careful with. In 2026, the person who turns your dreams into debates. You tell them something you're excited about, and suddenly you are defending it like a lawyer. They picket it, they question it, they want guarantees. They want you to prove it before you build it. That person may not be evil, but they are dangerous to your momentum. The momentum feel yourself defending your future. Stop speaking. Your future is not on trial. Another lesson, your whines are requiter than your words. If you need to tell people you are strong, you are still negotiating with your own doubt. If you need to tell people you are disciplined, you are still trying to convince yourself. True discipline is boring. It is repetitive. It does not need a microphone. So in 2026, become boring to people who only love a drama. Become mysterious to people who only love gossip. Become unavailable to people who only love access, not to punish them, to protect your craft. And your life is your craft. Let's make this practical. Here is what you do when you'll feel the urge to tell someone what's happening in your life. You pause, you breathe in through the nose. You count to 3. You ask, will telling them improve my life or just relieve me? If it will improve your life, maybe you share with the right person. If it will only relieve your emotion, you don't share. You process. You journal. You train. You walk. You sit. You let the emotion pass like weather. Most people will talk because they cannot sit with themselves. In 2026, you learn to sit with yourself. That's why your life will change. I want you to understand something about energy. When you speak, you spend. Even if you enjoy it, you spend. You spend attention, you spend emotion, you spend mental effort. That's fine when you spend it on what matters. But many of you spend it on explaining yourself to people who don't even listen well. Then you have nothing left for your work. Stop donating your energy to casual conversations. Use that energy to become skilled. Use that energy to become healthy. Use that energy to become stable. Use that energy to become calm. And if you struggle with this because you are a naturally expressive person, good express, but in a disciplined way. Put it into art. Put it into training. Put it into training. Put it into building something that remains when the conversation ends. A conversation disappears. A habit stays. Another trap in 2026 is social media confession culture. People think vulnerability equals authenticity. But vulnerability without boundaries becomes self-harm. Not all truth needs an audience. Some truth needs a mirror. Some truth needs therapy. Some truth needs prayer. Some truth needs time. If you share your life line, ask yourself, am I sharing to connect or am I sharing to be held? Because the internet cannot hold you. It can only react. And reaction is not care. Care is quiet. Care is consistent. Care shows up when the camera is off. So treat your life like a priceless object. Would you carry gold in a clear plastic bag and announce a route to strangers? Then why do you carry your dreams and pain and plans? In public, be wise. Wisdom is not just knowing. Wisdom is choosing what not to say. Some of you will hear this and think, but if I stop telling people my life, I'll feel lonely at first. Yes, you will feel the empty space where your attention used to be. But that emptiness is not loneliness. It is room. It is room for depths. It is room for real friendships. It is room for self-respect. It is room for the kind of confidence that does not need to be witnessed. When you become quieter, you become more selective. When you become more selective, you become more peaceful. When you become more peaceful, you'll become more dangerous in the best way back as you stop being easy to manipulate. And manipulation begins with information. People can only pull your strings when they know where they are tied. So in 2026, tighten your inner world. Keep your plans close. Keep your lessons deep. Keep your pain private until it is processed. Keep your victories humble. Keep your discipline boring. And when people ask, why? Are you so quietly? Smile. Not a defensive smile, a clean smile. A smile that says, I'm Bussy, becoming, because here is the truth. The version of you that will whine in 2026 is not the version that talks the most. It's the version that shows up when nobody is watching. It's the version that does the hard thing before telling the story. It's the version that can sit in silence without reaching for a phone, a person, a distraction, a confession. Your life becomes different when you stop needing an audience. Saturday, practice. The next time you're tempted to give a full update, give a short one. The next time you want to explain your plan, take one step instead. The next time you want to defend your choices, let them be misunderstood. The next time you want to tell someone your next move, go do it quietly and let time reveal it. And when you fall back into old habits and yowl, don't punish yourself. Just notice. Notice how you feel after oversharing. Notice the drop in energy. Notice the sudden anxiety. Notice the urge to manage perceptions. Then return to the practice. Fewer words, more proof. In 2026, your privacy is not a wall. Itis, a garden fence. It keeps out the gnomes that would eat the seedlings. It keeps soil undisturbed. It gives your roots time to hold. And when your roots hold, you don't need to announce your life. People will feel it when you walk into a room. They'll see it in your eyes. They'll hear it in the way you pause before you speak. They'll sense that you are no longer desperate to be understood, because you finally understand yourself enough to keep moving without permission. So stop telling people what's happening in your life in 2026. Not because you hate people, not because you're above them, but because your life is finally being important to you. Because we're done living as a public project. Because you are done giving previews. Because you are ready to do the quiet work that turns that one into I am. And the strange part is, once you stop talking, you'll start hearing things you miss. How people really think, what they really value, what they really fear. You'll notice who only comes alive when there's drama. You'll notice who respects your boundaries without punishment. You'll notice who tries to topple information out of you like it's sewed. You'll notice how often you use stoking as a way to avoid doing. And then, little by little, you'll become someone who doesn't rush to speak, someone who doesn't rush to post, someone who doesn't rush to prove, someone who can hold the dream in thesis like a warm stone and keep walking. And tomorrow you'll notice